Okay, I'm going to do the 2.5 homework. Page 134, number 2, 1, 2, 4, 6, 8 through 11. Okay. Without using a protractor, but with the aid of your two new conjectures, find the measure of each lettered angle in 1 through 5. Copy the diagrams so you can write on them. List your answers in alphabetical order. And so let's go over what are those two new conjectures. They're the vertical angles conjecture. Vertical angles conjecture and linear pair conjecture. So those are the two new conjectures we're talking about. Okay. So here we go. Let's see. Well, I know that C would be 120 because it's linear pair, and then this is 120 because of vertical angles, and that's 60 because of vertical angles. And then number 2, well, this whole thing is 90 because of vertical angles, making this 50. And this would be 92 because of linear pair, and that's 90 because of linear pair. That's 50. There we go. Next is 4. Okay. Well, this is going to be 60. And this is 120. And this is 120. And this is 55. This is 125, 125, 65, and then it's 115, 115. And that's all vertical angles in linear pair. Cool. Next is number 6. Developing proof. Points A, B, and C at right are collinear. What's wrong with this picture? Well, if they're really collinear, then these two angles will be a linear pair, which means 129 degrees plus 41 degrees would equal 180 degrees, but it looks like it actually equals 170, which is not 180. So one of those angles is incorrect. Next is 8. A tree on a 30-degree slope grows straight up. What are the measures of the greatest and smallest angles the tree makes with the hill? Okay, well, it goes straight up, meaning that this angle here is 90, which makes this 60 degrees, and that would be 120 degrees. And there you go, linear pair. Cool. Now you discover that if a pair of angles is a linear pair, then the angles are supplementary. Is the converse true? So if angles are supplementary, then they're linear pair. That would not be true because here are two supplementary angles and they are not a linear pair. So that would be a counterexample for that one. Number 10, if two congruent angles are supplementary, what must be true of the two angles? Make a sketch, then complete the following conjecture. If two angles are both congruent and supplementary, then. Okay, so two congruent angles are supplementary. So if two congruent angles are supplementary, so that could be like these two angles. They're congruent, and they're both 90, and they're supplementary. Then they are 90 degrees, right? So if I have two angles and they're congruent and they add to 180, then they would both have to be 90. So if two congruent angles are supplementary, so that means if you have angle 1 and angle 2, so the measure of angle 1 plus measure of angle 2 equals 180. And clearly both would have to be 90. Number 11, using algebra, write a deductive argument that explains why the conjecture from number 10 is true. Okay, so first we'll start with, we know the measure of angle 1 equals the measure of angle 2. And I know that, hold on. Okay, I know that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180. And I can do substitution here. So I can say the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 1 equals 180. That means 2 times the measure of angle 1 equals 180. Divide both sides by 2, measure of angle 1 equals 90. So the measure of angle 2 equals 90. And there you go. That's the proof.